NASA's Artemis II mission represents humanity's return to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Launching in early 2026, 4 astronauts will embark on a 10-day journey around the far side of the moon aboard the most powerful crewed rocket ever built. This is not a landing mission. It is a critical test flight designed to prove that every system works before NASA commits to putting boots on the lunar surface. The rocket carrying this crew is called the Space Launch System, or SLS. It features 2 solid rocket boosters on either side, much like the old space shuttle, and a large orange core stage running down the middle. For this particular mission, both boosters carry a massive America 250 logo to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States. A fitting symbol, given that engineers from all 50 states helped build this machine. Out above the core stage sits the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, and above that is Orion, the spacecraft that truly matters. Orion consists of the European service module at the bottom, which handles power and propulsion, and the crew module on top, where the 4 astronauts will live and work for the entire duration of the mission. The crew has named their capsule Integrity. At the very top sits the launch abort system, a tower designed to yank the capsule clear of the rocket in the event of a catastrophic failure on the launch pad, or during ascent. Artemis I flew without a crew back in 2022 and performed beautifully. Now NASA is ready to repeat that journey with people on board, which means testing all the human-centered systems that an uncrewed flight simply cannot evaluate. The crew will practice docking maneuvers, test radiation shielding in deep space, evaluate the communication systems, and run through daily routines, including eating meals together, rehydrating food with the onboard water system, sleeping, exercising, on a flywheel resistance device, and yes, using the bathroom in zero gravity. None of these things sound dramatic, but every one of them matters enormously for future long-duration missions to the moon and eventually Mars. Artemis II will lift off from Launch Complex 39B at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the same pad that sent Apollo 10 to the moon in the 1960s and supported many space shuttle missions over the decades. The first available launch window opens on February 5, 2026, at liftoff. It will be the most powerful crewed rocket launch in human history. 2 minutes after launch, the solid rocket boosters will separate. 8 minutes in, the core stage exhausts its fuel, falls away. The ICPS ignites to push Orion into a high elliptical Earth orbit reaching as far as 46,000 miles out. During that first day, Orion separates from the ICPS and practices the docking procedures it will need for future missions involving the Lunar Gateway Station and the Starship lunar lander. After completing roughly 1 orbit of Earth, Orion's engine fires again for the translunar injection burn, sending the crew on a free return trajectory toward the moon. A free return trajectory means the gravitational pull of the moon and Earth will naturally guide the spacecraft back home without requiring any additional engine burns. The same life-saving flight path that brought the Apollo 13 crew safely back after their oxygen tank exploded in 1970, the journey to the moon takes 4 days. Along the way, the crew will run emergency drills and test the radiation shelter inside Orion, because deep space radiation is one of the most serious threats facing astronauts on long missions beyond low Earth orbit. At its closest point, Orion will pass within about 4,600 miles of the lunar surface on the far side of the moon, the side that never faces Earth and that no person standing on our planet will ever see with their own eyes. The mission profile closely resembles Apollo 8, the famous Christmas 1968 flight that first carried humans around the moon. After the flyby, Orion performs small trajectory corrections and begins the 4-day return trip home. Separates from the service module, re-enters Earth's atmosphere, and splashes down in the Pacific Ocean where the United States Navy will be waiting to recover the crew and complete the mission. The 4 people chosen for this flight are among the most accomplished individuals NASA has ever sent into space. Reed Wiseman, the mission commander, is a 27-year Navy veteran, pilot, engineer, and Baltimore native who has already logged 167 days in space. Victor Glover, the pilot, is a California-born test pilot and engineer who flew 24 combat missions across 40 different aircraft during Operation Iraqi Freedom and has been a NASA astronaut since 2013. Christina Koch is a mission specialist, electrical engineer, Antarctic explorer, and firefighter who holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman, having spent nearly a full year aboard the International Space Station. And Jeremy Hansen, also a mission specialist, is a Canadian astronaut, physicist, colonel in the Canadian Armed Forces, and pilot who earned his wings at just 16 years old. Remarkably, Artemis II will be Hansen's very first spaceflight, and there is simply no more extraordinary way to begin a career in human spaceflight than a voyage around the moon. These 4 astronauts will carry the hopes of an entire generation with them. When they leave the launch pad, everything they test, every procedure they validate, every piece of data they bring back will pave the way for Artemis III, which aims to land humans on the lunar surface for the first time since Apollo 17 in December 1972. The launch window opens February 5th, 2026, and the countdown has already begun.